Well, that is, in fact, of the three statements, that in fact is the truth. Yes. If you were following along at home and you said Gypsy Kitten, then you were right. Welcome to Atlas Balked, a weekly chronicle concerning the mundane, weird, and maybe even sometimes dramatic happenings of a simple fantasy baseball league. This podcast captures the thoughts and musings of Greg, Joe, Jack, and Tim, 4 of the 10 owners in the league. Download this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Podcoin, or wherever you get your plainly logical podcast content. You can also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. This is episode 67 entitled, It's Just Math. Welcome, Balker Nation. We're so happy to have you listening to us. We have no idea why on earth you possibly would be, but welcome anyway. Swag/Larry, how are you doing this morning?
What's happening? Doing well.
Afternoon, evening. Well, I guess it's this morning for you, but yeah, for the listener.
Well, fuck the listener. Yeah, it's all about us, right?
Well, clearly that's how we set this podcast up anyway, right?
That's
so
right.
Yeah, that's exactly
right.
it.
So if you're listening and it's not morning, pause it and start it again in the morning so that you can play along at home. I'm doing well. Good to see you, fellas.
Gypsy Kitten / Ghost King, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. And Jack, I think most people will listen to it in the morning because even if they begin to listen to it in the evening, they will quickly come back to consciousness and be like, oh my gosh, I guess I fell asleep for the last 12 hours.
That's right.
Good morning.
That's right. Good point.
Do you, Gypsy Kitten or Ghost King? What should we do? Which is
Gordian Knot.
Ooh, that's
Actually quite good.
That's as inaccessible as the name of our podcast. I love it.
See what happens when you give Joe a week.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, guys. I don't put rules on what you call me or what my nickname is. Nicknames evolve, and so if Gypsy Kitten suits me better, Gypsy Kitten it is.
I think if we start a T-shirt line, Gypsy Kitten has so much potential and opportunity.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So if we're starting a T-shirt line, then yes, of course, Gypsy Kitten it shall be.
Yeah, right. Because Ghost King, what would that be? It would just be like poof.
Well, ghosting's that's a new. Ghosting's a established phenomenon.
Yeah, the shirt design would be a female still lying in bed and the ghost of Greg flowing from the bed out the door.
It would be a female, kind of like with her arm up like she's posing for a photo in like the vapor trail outline of me. So you can see the remnants of a man standing there.
Right.
But it's actually the tail end of a vapor trail that leads off stage left.
I like it.
I wonder if those losers over at Real Shit Baseball even think about T-shirts, let alone we have T-shirts. GK has taken care of that for us. In fact, we should send them a T-shirt.
Yeah,
we should. How many do they have? What, 3-4 guys on the? Do you know?
I don't know.
They have 3 guys on the podcast, and they typically have a guest.
Okay.
They have slightly more followers on Twitter than we do.
What?
You can pay for Twitter followers.
I think basically they require their league owners to follow, basically.
Yeah.
To be fair, they probably all have Twitter accounts where 25% of our podcast doesn't have one.
True.
And they go through team owners like fucking hotcakes, right? So if they just make them stay on their Twitter after they kick them out of the league, then
it's obvious they're paying for Twitter followers.
Yeah, right, exactly.
We will officially challenge them to a fight, and Greg will take the big guy.
Mm-hmm.
And since we have one extra guy, Joe will be our Buster Posey and just scatter around the edges
with a helmet on, with safety gear on,
teal shorts on.
I'll look slightly menacing.
Teal shorts, and then you just
flip flops
teal shorts and flip flops, please, Joe.
Joe will look genuinely distressed because there's a scene of violence until one of their guys hits the ground, and then Joe will kick him in the ribs a few times with his flip flops.
Yeah.
I do feel like they just kind of will come in jab at us and run away. Like I haven't. There's been no sustained kind of back and forth with this.
Like a hummingbird going after a hawk, almost.
Right. Yeah, the mockingbird method. Right? Is that what he said? Yeah, the mockingbird method. Okay. Well,
Sorry.
lacking a lot of discipline this morning.
Not crisp.
Not crisp at all. Very wilty.
Have we said hi to Joe yet?
No, that's exactly. I keep looking at.
No, he's so crisp.
J-Lo, my friend, how are you?
I'm feeling about as welcome as a cop in a Starbucks in Tempe.
Oh,
Let's get to the games. Let's, again, if someone is still listening at this point, they are probably...
What's wrong with you?
Seek mental help.
I've actually set the headphones down twice so far. So
Then I think the most the appropriate game to start with would be the one with the team that had a name change. Reardon Metal, who has been Reardon Metal for quite some time, has changed their name to Sibs Underachievers. I'm not even going to explain that name. If you need it, just go back and listen to other podcasts. It does involve speaking to plants. Sibs Underachievers are living down to their name right now, and it looks as if the Philadelphia Experiment is going to continue their tear and win the game. So we are within that range, guys, right?
yeah,
Well within it, and this will be. I mean, to me, this game will go a long way to seeing if there truly is a curse on Jack, or if he's somehow eluded a curse. Because this would be exactly the type of game where somebody who was afflicted with a curse would lose when he thought he had it so well in hand, only to have a crew of losers like Sibs Underachievers come back on Sunday and win.
Right?
that's a very good point. Yeah.
He's saying all the right things. He's, this could happen. I could lose. So he's being humble enough.
So his team came back quite a bit yesterday. A big part of it, our staffs are playing each other, and mine has the high score. So if his wins, there's a decent possibility of point swing. So he could gain a couple points from staff alone today if the Padres were to beat the Dodgers again. And then at that point, it's a toss-up.
You're gonna need a big game from Harper, that's for sure.
For a guy that's cursed, he's been doing pretty good. He's no Mike Trout, but he's been doing pretty good.
Well, there you go. So this is definitely a big game that we will be watching, but you won't, dear listener, because we'll have already recorded this.
We
podcast.
just don't care about you.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That is J-Lo's marketing plan to a T. We are executing this so well. We have the Crispy Chickens and the St. Locash Knights who say, "Meh."
Didn't the Crispy Chickens have a big game last week?
Crispy Chickens are on a roll.
They've had a close game every week. They've been close in most of their games. In fact, at the point that we've talked about this point every week, it seems like it's within a point or two, their game. They're just hanging with whoever they're playing and then outscoring them on Sunday, basically.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm kicking their ass right now. I'm just not playing them.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So the record is going to be 11-4, assuming that they win, which is phenomenal. It's a great fucking record. If Greg loses, he's going to end up at 7-8, and they have literally scored the same amount of points this season.
Wow.
But Scotty is exactly where we expected him to be as a team. The Chickens they're in the power poll. They're fifth, which is basically what we expected. We said that there were four other teams that we thought were stronger than them. They're just in the right spot, and that's where they're at. They haven't gone above and beyond to impress. They've just done the right thing at the right time, and they continue to win on Sundays, which sucks for Greg, who's again, scoring the same amount of points for them, but not coming up with the same results every week.
No worries. Tim, what's Scott's attitude on all this? Is he interested in making a move, or is he just content to win the division, have his expenses covered, and just go off into the off season?
I don't know.
Is he still playing mid-ball?
I don't know. He made a couple of moves earlier in the season, which were it was unusual for him to do. But I don't know. I haven't connected with him meaningfully in the last 3 or 4 weeks. So I will seek you out. I'll definitely get on that.
Whatever the circumstances, the fact is that he has a solid record. He's going to have a good playoff seed. With a strategic move, or maybe two, he could do some damage in the playoffs, because now we see that the Mondays are fallible.
Human.
We see that Jack's team can be beat, although they're very good. There's just a lot more parity in the league this year.
Mm-hmm.
A strong team like his with one or two moves, he could do some damage. This could be the year of the mid-ball, just make one move.
It could be, yeah.
Did I mention DJ LeMahieu's available?
I love that you turn into the rug salesman every time this year. Like your setups are much more elaborate.
I'm just pleased that Greg learned how to pronounce his name.
The guy's actually hit better right now than he did when he was in fucking Colorado. It's crazy.
And he's available.
Yeah. I don't.
2 for 1.
I don't know that I would jump on it at the moment. I'm just impressed with it.
If we take a look at the Dreamers, now this was the greatest team of all time.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, they're still projected to win today. They're playing Mr. Blonde's Heroes. GK's team has had some not some great luck, but he's fought through it. He's kept his chin up, put together, I think, an impressive season. But the Dreamers currently are behind, but it's definitely within that zone.
Well, they've had some monstrous Sundays this year too.
They have,
yeah. They can definitely score points in bunches. There's no doubt about it. It has been a few short weeks though that they've gone from discussion, as I mentioned, from the best team ever to this week with a win by my team and a loss on their end, and they're not even going to be the best team this season. So it has been a rough couple weeks for them. Again, they're right in it. They could easily win today.
They tumbled to fourth in the power poll, did they not, Jack? Which I found shocking, frankly.
Yeah. That's the true power ranking. They are still in first, but yes, in the power that was as odd a power poll as I've seen. That was a very.
Why don't you explain that for our listeners? There's two kind of power polls.
There's a power ranking on the website that is linked directly to the records and records against each other. It takes into account 3 different things: record, points for the season, and then your breakdown, which we've talked about if you had played everybody every week. So you get a semblance of points for each of those 3 things. So right now,
that's based on math, right?
That's math.
That's
correct.
That's math, right?
Mathematically, the Dreamers are still ranked as the best team in the league, myself being second, Lethal Injection being third, Joe's Underachievers is fourth, as I mentioned, and then the Crispy Chickens come in fifth. So that's the mathematical one.
Then there's the bots/drunk interns power poll, right? Which is what GK is referring to, right?
It is, yeah. Okay. And it's generally it has some substance of what's going on, and you can make some pretty good sense of it.
It's like a college football poll. Even if Alabama has only lost one game, if the last loss was to Auburn, they're going to skew that more than the cumulative body of work for the season.
And the Dreamers again still in the driver's seat, still very good. I don't think with what we got 5 games left, we're just about, it's not mathematic, but we're just about to the point, kind of a shitty thing for someone with a curse to say, but where me and him are pretty much locked in, right?
Or wagon-o curses.
We can, mathematically, we could miss the playoffs, but it's probably not.
I think Scotty's pretty much mathematically in too. I mean, Tim and I have a chance to win this week, but even if Tim and I both won, but still it looks like you, the Mondays, Mikey and Scotty are pretty much locked in if all things continue to be more or less the same.
Yeah, if you and Tim lose this, if you, Tim, and Joe were to lose this week, then it's almost it's almost done at that point, right? I mean, you guys are the ones that are keeping the discussion open. There's still, again, these games today are and they're all close, really. So it's going to be interesting.
But there's no, to me, in my mind, and you guys tell me if you disagree, but there's no singular team that I think is like, well, if things go the way I expect them to, this team will definitely win it all. Like the Mondays have fallen off that bird.
I think that's Jack.
No, I mean, no. Jack and the Mondays are both the strongest 2 contenders. Mm-hmm. But in years past, there's been that one team where I thought, more likely than not, that's going to be the team just based on math. But now, I mean, Mikey's had some very impressive weeks.
Right. I was just going to say, yeah.
Say based on history, then that becomes Mikey.
But even like I'm saying, Scotty, they win almost every week. Even though it's not impressive, if he could make one move or 2, like acquire LeMahieu, then things might go his way.
Does he even need to make a move though if he's winning without all that?
Yeah, I would.
He needs a second base.
I think he needs CJ Cron.
All you got to do is make the playoffs. So it depends on what confidence he has in his team. At this point, like I said, if you're Scotty, you're not worried about winning. Wins don't really matter as much right this moment as scoring points. So you're either confident in your team going into the playoffs or you're not.
Okay, but that changes too, because you made the statement, oh, Mikey can win the division. I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about the playoffs. But if Mike were to come from 2 games behind you now to overtake you and win that division, that's going to change how confident you are about your team.
Not if I'm scoring 55 points and losing. That's what I'm saying. Like, I want to win because that's how you make the playoffs, but I base my success on a weekly basis on the amount of points I'm scoring, not whether I'm winning or losing, because that is luck. So mine is math.
Kind of like when you're winning with 44 points on a Saturday.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Right. I'm confident in my team this week, not because I'm winning, but because I have.
You should be. You're playing me.
So anyway, my point is that
everybody beats
Scotty,
me except
if
Greg.
I'm Scotty, I'm not happy that I'm winning with 35 points. Is my point. I'm concerned that I'm going into the playoffs with a 35-point team. That's my mindset if I'm in that situation at the moment. But that's just me.
And then we have the just quick update: Lethal Injection beating Mix 7.
Mix 7 live. 7 live. 7 live.
Sorry, Mix 7's going to lose. And we have the 47 Blossoms beating the Funkin' Punks, still within that range of could go either way, but I think the Blossoms are going to win. So there you have it, folks. Is anyone left? Is anyone left after that in-depth analysis of our fake baseball team's fake baseball league?
We got more.
For Christ's sake. All right. Well, if you're still around, dear listener, we have some interesting stuff. We actually have the Juiceless League's all-star team. So Swag has put pen to paper and is going to go at that. We want to talk a little bit about the hurling video that was put up on our Facebook page. I think that's pretty interesting. I don't know if any of you've checked that out, but it's pretty.
You know what
pretty
I have checked out is cricket. I've watched quite a bit of cricket this week.
I have too. We can talk a little bit about that. It's fucking great. It's a cool game, actually. I was like, holy shit.
After my comment of whether or not there was a Q in the word, I was like, you know what? I should probably brush up on this at least a little bit.
Yes. And I have some answers about some of the questions we raised last week. That's so funny that you said that. And then I think we can maybe later on in the show talk about the actual All-Star game that's going on, your thoughts on the Home Run Derby. We're looking forward to you coming back, and we'll talk to you soon. Welcome back, bots. Happy to have you back. So one of the things that Swag has been doing, and he likes to kind of get in there and do the math, and he did some math as it relates to the All-Star, the Juiceless All-Star game. So basically, he's looking at the Juiceless All-Stars for the season so far. So we're a little further along in our season than Major League Baseball, but it's always a fun time to take a look at and see who the stars of the first part of our season actually are. So I'm going to hand the microphone over to you, Swag, and let you take us through the All-Star roster for. It's a little different for us, right? We don't really have an all-star game. We don't have teams play against each other.
If we were putting together a team to play against, let's say, the real shit baseball, then this would be our team. This is our all-star team.
Those guys, man, like they've gone radio silent. Like I don't feel like they're with their last poop emoji to us. That was it.
They had enough content for 3 episodes.
Yeah,
it took their entirety of their life's experience, the entirety of their comic reservoir was expended in 3 measly episodes. Now they're done. Season 3 will happen in the year 2038.
Maybe their wives just made them quit.
Maybe their parole officers were like, "No, when we told you couldn't go on the internet, we meant it. You're back to prison, boys."
Okay,
right.
So Moving on. The 2019 Juiceless League All-Star Team. So what my goal was to put together a team using all the positions and representing all of the Juiceless teams.
Ooh.
That part was a little bit of a challenge.
Mix 7.
There were a couple of squads that were a little tougher to squeeze somebody out of. However, with a couple of very notable omissions, we'll start with our catcher. So our catcher this year, there's really 4 guys in this conversation. There's pretty much been 4 guys in this conversation. Real Muto, Sanchez, Contreras, all worthy, all having good years. However, once again, somehow, some way, the ageless one, Yasmani Grandal is our starting catcher. He is the top catcher right now in our league for this part of the season. So. Woo-hoo. So St. Locash is represented with Yasmani Grandal. So first base. First base is interesting. Again, I tried to put the guys where they are playing, not necessarily where they qualify. So again, we got some new names up here this year, some surprises up here with we got Carlos Santana and DJ LeMahieu in the top 7 first basemen so far this year.
He is for sale.
He is for
multi-positions.
Pete Alonso in the discussion, first year guy for Mikey. Freddie Freeman, who Mikey picked up as well, in discussion. But our first baseman for 2019 is going to be Josh Bell.
Boom.
Greg obviously gets to stand up and beat his chest. Tim gets some credit. So we got Locash and Blondie have now been represented. We're going to move over to middle infield. Middle infield, again, interesting. We're, again, trying to place guys where they're playing now. So although Bregman is in the discussion, we're going to remove him from the discussion since he's technically a third baseman. So the only guy that really gets any type of shaft here at all is going to be Javier Baez, and again, in the effort of including everybody. The top middle infielder right now is Xander Bogaerts from the Limp Chickens. So he is going to be our shortstop. And our second baseman is going to be Whit Merrifield from
oh my gosh,
Reardon's Underperformers. Whit Merrifield is technically the 4th qualified middle infielder right now, with Bregman being in that mix. Baez, like I said, the only guy ahead of him other than Bogaerts. So Merrifield, again, qualifies in a few different positions, but plays primarily second base. So there we have Reardon Metal and the Chickens now, or the Underachievers, I'm sorry, and the Chickens now represented as well. So we're moving on to third base. This was an interesting one. First of all, when I popped up third base, there was a guy on top of the list that I did not see being there prior, and a lot of it has to do with his week this week. I think he's at a 8.8 currently.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about.
Dominant week, but this guy is 22 years old and currently ahead of Nolan Arenado, Alex Bregman, and Javier Baez at third base. Woo! Top third baseman who is getting not included in our team because we need to include everybody is Rafael Devers. I was fucking shocked to see this guy on top of the list. I knew that in order to put this together, I was going to have to shaft Arenado and Bregman, but I was shocked that Devers was actually ahead of them. So kudos on that. Unfortunately, because we need to have all of our teams represented.
What?
Devers, Arenado, and Bregman are all going to be omitted from our team. And our starting third baseman is going to be Eduardo Escobar from Mix 7. Guy, he is having a great year. He's a top 5 guy. Again, this is the one position that I had to omit. Obviously, Arenado, Bregman better. Devers, I guess, better since he's better than those two guys.
What do you mean? What are you doing?
It's just surprising. The guy's just having a fucking phenomenal year. He's batting, 328, 16 home runs. He's having a great year. It's just I didn't expect it. So, yeah, for a guy that traded Arenado and Bregman in the same season, he now has the only third baseman better than both of them. But again, because Mike's dad's team sucks, we have to kick all of them off the team. Escobar, again, having a great season, but he is
Pops.
Mike's dad's best player, and this is the only way we could possibly include one of Mike's dad's players.
Who made that fucking rule up?
So,
that was actually me when we were talking about it, right?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right.
All right. So moving to the outfield, this one's pretty easy. There's some guys creeping up the list that are kind of surprising. Some of the guys in the top 10 that are a little surprising. So the top 3, very easy, very simple top 3 this year. Christian Yelich of the Dreamers,
Boom.
Cody Bellinger of the Blossoms,
Boom.
Woo.
Mike Trout of the Philadelphia Experience.
Boom.
Easy top 3. Those guys are pretty dominantly ahead of even the rest of the list. We have only 2 teams that have not been represented so far. That would be the Lethal Injection and the Funkin' Punks. So let's say we need a DH, right? We start a DH, so we need to bring a DH in. So our DH is easily going to be from Mikey's team. It's not so easily going to be chosen. So you guys can help me with this one. We got 3 guys that are all kind of right there in the point structure. He's got Freddie Freeman, he's got Pete Alonso, and he's got Ronald Acuna. All 3 of them, I believe, would be the next 3 statistically outside of the guys we omitted at third base. So out of those 3 guys, who's your choice?
Well, my logic says, to even consider an athletic young outfielder like Acuna for a DH is just such a departure from probability that I'm going to dismiss him. And they're all National League guys. So, taking that aside, I have to go with the first baseman. They are most naturally and most frequently made DHs. And although Freddie has turned into a really consistent star performer in fantasy, he's also been an off-traded, pariah, if you will, not wanted. So I'm going to go with the rookie and say Alonso. That's my vote.
Tim?
I think I go with Freddie Freeman. He's got more positional versatility. So he could be DH, he could be third base, he could be first base.
There you go, Joe.
I would just say if you look at the weekly scoring, Freeman has been by far the most consistent. I think his lowest score is a 3 and his highest is a 7.
Mathematically, Freeman is just ahead of Acuna.
Oh, it comes to math.
Devers, Alonso, all in that group. So Freddie Freeman's going to be our DH. All right, so there's Mikey. Mikey's in. So we're only missing LJ. The only spot that LJ has anyone in the top 5 is pitching staff.
Yeah.
And again, he's 4th, and ahead of him are Mikey's Rays, the Dreamers Astros, and of course, number 1, the Dodgers. So tough to give it to the Indians with those 3 performing as well as they are. But our only other opportunity to include LJ would be our first player off the bench. And I would be pretty excited about seeing Fernando Tatis Jr. come off of our bench. So we could go either way with that one. We could bring his up-and-coming stud kid onto the squad, or we can go ahead and over the Indian staff.
I'd say the pitching. We're going to have a full team. We're going to have a full team.
Yeah,
I say both.
Yeah, we'll do both. That way he's included. Yeah. We'll go with the...
We'll let Tatis pitch.
Tatis.
Yeah, there you go. So that's it. Everybody's included. Grandal, Josh Bell, Bogarts and Merrifield in the middle, Escobar with an asterisk at third, Bellinger, Yelich, and Trout in the outfield, Freeman for performance, Alonso for HQ at DH, and Tatis coming off the bench with the Indian staff. So really, the staff and third base were the only 2 that we really had to bypass anybody. Other than that, everybody that mentioned is deserving, and that's a hell of a fucking team.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a mid-season MVP for the league?
I mean, at this point, honestly, I guess.
I mean, again, you can't just go with math for an MVP.
Yeah,
it's also what player's having the biggest impact positively on the team.
This one's kind of easy across the board, though. It just so happens that both are probably the case with Christian Yelich. He is mathematically the best player in the league right now today, and he has had a huge help in
elevating the Dreamers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good choice.
Christian, as Bellinger with a 1A,
crazy
a phenomenal season. But yeah, Yelich would be Yelich, Bellinger, and Bell are the top 3 players. Then Mike Trout. Josh Bell is ahead of Mike Trout.
Who'd have thunk it?
So I will leave you with this. So there's been an injury post from one of our favorite owners on the podcast, Chris. He is inserting Jake from State Farm for the injured Conforto. So I'll leave you with that. We'll come back. Let's talk about Major League Baseball's Home Run Derby, and has it passed its time? Is it now not so ripe? So we'll talk to you in a minute. Well, welcome back, Balked Nation. And as we approach this coming week in Major League Baseball, you're probably listening to this while there's no baseball being played, because we are in the All-Star Week. And that I think the Major League Baseball Home Run Derby might be happening earlier in the week, right? That was happening on a Tuesday and the game's on a Thursday, or I don't know. To me, I liked it better when the All-Star game really did mean something. I might be in the minority, but I actually liked if whoever won the All-Star game, National League or American League, they got to host the World Series. I actually liked that. I thought that it added a little edge to what essentially is a showcase game. I don't know why they went back to kind of handing it back and forth. I kind of liked it. The Home Run Derby, to me, it's hard for me to get excited about the Home Run Derby. Are you guys feeling the same way, or am I just missing something that's pretty big?
I mean, it's basically like watching batting practice, and I just find it to be too long, and there's too many players in it. I don't get a charge out of it.
I don't know. I will say, like, the most exciting story on this was Christian Yelich practicing at Pirate Stadium. Yeah. What's the name of Pirate
PNC
Stadium, by the way?
Park. PNC Park.
No, he was practicing at PNC Park. He was practicing for the Home Run Derby, had it all set up, timed, had the pitching coach who was going to throw the home run balls to him, and he jacked one out into the Allegheny River. Actually hit a boat, broke a window on the boat, and the cops were called. So can you imagine just sitting out there? There's no game going on. It's not like you've got the game on the radio or TV and a ball's been hit. You're just out there doing your thing in a hot, muggy summer day in Pittsburgh, and suddenly, boom! This baseball comes through your window. You're calling the cops. You're calling the river police. But apparently Yelich was not arrested, and all was made well again with the boat owner. But that to me was the most interesting thing about the Home Run Derby this year, I think, is Yelich getting the cops called on him. It kind of reminded me of when we played when we were kids, right? And who broke the window.
Why did the boat owner call the cops?
Maybe they thought somebody threw a baseball from shore and hit their boat or something like that.
The river police on the Allegheny are pretty badass. There was even a movie, Bruce Willis movie made about
and Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yeah. So, you don't mess with the river police on the Allegheny.
I do. I enjoy the Home Run Derby. I always have. It's gone. It's had its moments. It's had its, but I do actually enjoy it for the most part. I have got to the point where I tend to record it and fast forward through the bullshit. I do agree with Greg. It gets a little long.
What do you like about it, though? It's hitting a ball over a fence with no other significance other than you hit a ball over the fence. Like, it's not an in-game home run, which has some level of interest, but
right. But it's a competition still, right?
It's kind of like the lumberjack games. How fast can you chop down the tree?
Yeah, I like that stupid shit too.
So do I.
I remember back in the day that all the, studs of MLB would participate, and then they kind of stopped doing it. And I remember, being pissed off that they were, pulling up all these younger guys and secondary guys and so on and so forth. This particular season, I'm actually pretty excited to see some of these guys. I want to see Acuna, Bell, Alonso. Even Guerrero. I can't, again, we've talked about the fanfare that's come along with this guy, but I don't remember anyone participating in the Home Run Derby that had this few major league games under their belt.
I find that annoying. I honestly find it annoying for him. I don't think he deserves it. I want Vlad to focus on just being a competent major league hitter, which I know he'll be, but this is kind of like antithetical towards that effort, in my opinion.
Part of me wants to see Yelich and Bellinger just go at it. like fuck the rest of these guys. Let those two guys just hit home runs for a little while.
The field's too big. It should be, to me, like the top four, like the top two American League and the top two National League, not based on how far they're going to hit it, but if whoever's number one and number two in each league in terms of actual home runs, square off.
That would be more interesting.
Well, and then again, not to keep plugging my idea, but if they used aluminum bats, I'd be more apt to watch.
So you'd watch it if DJ LeMahieu was hitting home runs with an aluminum bat. That'd be perfect for you, right?
Well, it'd be more interesting. Bell's going to hit he's going to switch hit, which I guess no switch hitter who's ever been in the Home Run Derby has ever done that. They always just choose their more powerful side.
Hey, that's interesting.
But again, it's just like, I don't want him messing up his swing. You know what I mean?
Well, what would you do? Nothing? You would just remove it and not?
No, I would have I just told you, Jack, were you listening? I just told you what I'd do. I'd have the top four guys, and I'd have aluminum bats.
I was actually asking Tim, I guess. And it was like he just wanted it to go away. Would you add something? Is there something, where hockey kind of changed their thing up, right? They do like a skills, the skills test now is a little bit more.
Yeah, I'd drop it. I'd actually just, show hurling games like that, like fuck that. Right?
I'd like to see like outfield assist competitions, you start to get your fastest guys on the All-Star team at second, and you hit a pop up, a deep pop up, and you see you can make the fastest relays, and they try to run home and score before you do it. Something like that would be fun.
That's at least it's something new. Yeah. So I see what you two are saying. I get it. That makes
fielding competitions as opposed to
or combine it with competitive eating while the guys
now you're talking
pitches. They have to eat a hot dog, and that would be fun.
There you go.
Ron Kruk would come out of retirement.
Right. Oh man, he could do it.
Yeah.
He could do it.
He'd be the DE.
Yeah, the designated eater.
Oh, holy Kruk. Yes, absolutely.
Or they pitch golf balls to the guys in the Home Run Derby,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I probably lost touch. Maybe the younger players or younger kids, that's a big thing for them. I mean, I do enjoy watching the kids in the field just, kind of beat each other up in a kind of
to miss the ball, yeah.
Right, exactly. Like, there's an injury coming at one of these points, right? It's kind of interesting. So I know we joked around about cricket last week on the Cricket Balls episode, but it was really interesting is I actually started to get into, all right, I should know a little more about this game. I mean, I kind of trashed it, right? But what was fascinating was there's been a lot of talk as I was learning about the game and the rules, and found out there's actually 3 different types of cricket games. The one that can last several days is called a test match, but there's also something called 2020, which is cricket's response to improving or increasing the popularity of the game and growing the game in the United States, which I thought was very, very interesting. And so what they did was they shortened the number of at bats and the number of outs and got the game from a few days to what could be essentially about 2.5 hours to 3 hours, which is very similar to what a baseball game was. But I thought it was very interesting how cricket and how the thought leaders behind growing cricket in the United States were actually approaching changing the game to make it more appealing to the massive United States market, whereas worldwide it's a pretty big game.
Are there cricket fights?
I didn't see any cricket fights.
Allow me to look that up. Allow me to look that up. So what's interesting is, you described how they've modified the rules slightly to make it more consumable to market.
Dumb down.
And that's kind of like what you described a few weeks ago with the lacrosse league, kind of the traveling lacrosse league. We should get Miles on here. I'd love to talk to Miles a little bit about as a lacrosse player, does he like watering down or not watering down, that might be the wrong word because I don't know the rules.
Altering
it, or is he more of a traditionalist? That would be a good topic of conversation to get an actual athlete's perspective on their sport.
Yeah.
Let's call him up. We can call him up right now, and maybe you guys could ask him a few questions.
Okay,
let's do that, and then Tim can get some breakfast.
Yeah, I mean, some more breakfast. You mean some more breakfast, Jack?
More breakfast.
Some more breakfast.
Yeah. Get us in the second breakfast. It's time for second breakfast.
It's right before brunch.
Exactly.
Hello?
What's up, Miles? How are you, man?
Oh my gosh!
So Miles,
he's telling me not to be too crass, but trying to swear with you.
Oh yeah, your dad's the straight-laced one. First of all, your dad said you were still mildly intoxicated, which we all appreciate. And I'm curious, what's your go-to drink? What's like the go-to drinks of a young, 20-something this day and age?
Usually, split a rack with one of the guys from the team, and then it's whatever one of the seniors comes by and gives me a bottle of.
Oh, so you'll drink anything.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'd avoid Southern Comfort. That's the only words of wisdom I can give to you.
I mean, like, I definitely use some judgment.
Okay.
No, but it's a good learning experience, right? You get to try out a bunch of different possibilities. You get someone else to take care of it.
Right.
Good job.
Oh man, just rolling up with some wild turkey ruined some people's nights.
Yeah, exactly.
So I thought we were talking to Miles about.
We are. I just was curious. I'm curious.
Hey, that's a big part of lacrosse.
Life isn't one dimensional, Joe. There's
right.
many nuances and delicate flavors. Right.
People want the whole story.
So Miles,
that was a huge part of our success.
So Miles, have you ever played lacrosse drunk? No.
No. Stop it.
Well, Doc Ellis pitched a no-hitter on acid, but that's a different story. But anyway, so Miles, your dad's been telling us about this kind of newer lacrosse league, and it's a novel concept. We've been talking about the declining attendance in baseball and how in some cities there just doesn't seem to be that passion for their local teams, and that's what prompted your dad to talk to us about this new lacrosse league. And it seemed to me, as we were discussing it, that the intent of this league is almost like a promotional vehicle for the sport itself, so that when you go city to city, it's like, we're going to make this the most exciting version of lacrosse we can. So we're planting the seed for this sport so that more and more people are interested. So as leagues evolve, there will be that hometown interest.
What they do is they'll go around basically to huge market cities like New York, LA, DC, and they use soccer stadiums. And they use a lot of stuff from Premier League soccer, such as like uniforms. Like, people can wear jerseys around in public without looking like fucking douchebag. Stuff like that, where it looks stylish. They give you basically a huge market experience every single game they give you. And instead of selling a ticket for one game in the weekend, they sell you tickets for 3 pro men's lacrosse games and 2 pro women's games.
Nice.
In terms of the players, Miles, what is more prestigious? Or are they drawing like from recent college graduates, or where do the players come from?
A lot of these teams are grouped together by what major college they went to or what conference they played in college.
And then they're kind of assigned that way?
Yeah. There's almost like an ACC team, a Big East team. And obviously that's going to change over time. But they wanted to establish identities of teams and personalities to the brand, so they could build lifelong audiences. Like in Premier League soccer, there's a personality to each team. Like Arsenal tends to be an up and down, throwing big crossers across the middle type of team. Liverpool plays that trap in the middle of the field, and they're really methodical with it. So people can kind of get on board with whichever play style that they're.
And if I'm a lacrosse player, which league at this moment in time, which league is considered to be the stronger in terms of competition, skill level, things like that?
Oh, PLL, hands down.
Okay.
Hands down. It's the most exciting version of lacrosse. They took out 10 yards in the middle of the field, so they get up and down a lot faster.
Nice.
Bigger, stronger, faster players. I mean, they got the NBC sports deal. They're on national TV. And I think that honestly, the players, it's a player run league. So every single player that's in the league is actually a shareholder within the league.
As a fan of the game itself, does it bother you that they've changed the field dimensions, or does it not even matter?
When I was playing,
I love that they changed it. It's a tournament lacrosse. You tend to have shorter fields and stuff. It's a more fun version of lacrosse. I don't want to watch dudes struggle to clear the ball up for 20 seconds. Like, that's my least favorite part of lacrosse now, is fucking clearing drills for half a practice, what we do in college. And by shortening up the field, they just eliminated that. They made it faster. It's like a purer version of the game. Yeah, you lose a little bit of the mental aspect, but it's almost like UFC fighting. There's just a smaller cage.
Right. Yeah. You're just forcing more action.
Yeah, exactly. And they're a little bit looser on the rules to go along with that. Like, they let some pushing and shoving go on. They let a little bit more like moving picks and stuff go on.
So above and beyond your obvious success in the sport and how well you're doing, you're actually phenomenal at this as well. Do you know how to mix down and edit podcasts or no?
I do not. No, I could probably figure it out in like a day and a half.
You probably could.
I love it.
Yeah, you probably. Chances are you could if you just sit back there in that corner and just kind of look over his shoulder for a little bit.
What are you doing in 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah, your dad's going to be loafing and blowing us off. So
that's right. We're looking for a replacement for him for a couple of shows coming up. So
I'll hop on.
All right, let's do it.
Definitely.
Well, just between you and us, we're not married to him, okay? Yeah. So we're.
I could be the asshole producer that Joe Rogan's got. He just looks up facts.
Well, that's what we have Jack for.
That's right. That's my job.
Someone needs to check Jack too.
Miles, we're counting on you to promote the podcast among the college scene too.
I wear my Atlas box shirt.
Oh, nice. That's good.
Jeez, I don't even do that.
Yeah, kids are like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's actually my dad's podcast. You should check it out." And they're like, "Really?" And I'm like, "I mean, do you like baseball?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "You should still check it out."
There you go. Good man. Good man.
You've done more to promote this podcast than Joe has. You know?
That's correct.
That's right. In 3 years.
Joe denies that he's
Joe doesn't have the
podcast.
Instagram.
Yeah.
If Joe got on Instagram, he'd be famous fast.
He would be.
Right. I've been thinking about starting an account for Joe.
There's a reason I'm not on those things.
Throw a day in the life montage every once in a while. Nah, we gotta have Joe in the background just staring at the camera. No words till he really needs to speak.
That's kind of what he does here, man.
Somebody's got to do it.
An intimidating look at the camera. I'll see you later.
Continued success.
2 weeks.
Thank you for talking, guys. I'll see y'all later.
Good to see you.
See you in 2 and 3 weeks.
All right, buddy.
When you take over for your dad.
Yeah, just let me know. Send me a DM or something once Joe gets.
That means direct
Joe.
message, Joe.
Joe,
I know
take
what
care
it
of
means.
it.
Joe thought it meant dungeon master.
It can mean that as well. I got my 17.
Hey, Miles is free in 2 and 3 weeks, Tim. So problem solved. We will be able to record.
Yeah, right. Okay, well that sounds like an interesting call with Milo, and so interesting take on the on one of the leagues in lacrosse and what they're doing to try to make it more interesting. So
Well, it's good that the actual participants like the modification, but to me, it always does. It begs the question: what does that say about our sport if we need to make it more consumable, or does that say something about the American culture that we need things to be modified for us?
There you go. Ding.
You got these kids that grow up playing sports, unlike when we did, where you're just playing for a specific team against other teams from the town. You're playing club sports now, where you just travel everywhere to play your games. I have a feeling that's part of it.
I hope they don't make the holes bigger in cornhole.
Never. That is one of the most traditional sports of all time. That's right. Yes. And don't step over the line.
Yeah.
Do not step over the line.
At least don't tell everybody else on your podcast.
Yeah, right.
And that it doesn't matter.
Well, boys, this has been a fun show. I enjoy seeing you all once again. Thank you. This is the conclusion of our 67th episode. I know. Who thought 4 losers like us would have put together something like this?
Nobody who knows us, that's for sure.
No.
No.
And if Tito's still listening, dude,
we love you, Tito.
we really, I really do think you need to get a life.
Mm-hmm.
Being on this show alone has made me more successful than most of the folks I knew in high school expected me to be. So
Wow.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go.
Pretty zen. One more quick All-Star Game skills competition.
Okay.
We dress somebody, not even a major league player, we dress somebody in like one of those police dog training suits, like they're going to get attacked by a police dog. You know those suits I'm talking about. And then the contest is to see how accurately and frequently the pitchers on the All-Star team can bean that guy. And like the bodysuit is
now that I would watch.
Yeah, like the bodysuit is painted with like scoring zones. So like the ribs are 5 points, the head is 10 points.
There you go.
Like I like that. Yeah,
I like that. Then you had the batter. Who doesn't, not getting hit, but he stands in the box, and then he at that point is able to react, and run.
Right.
Then you have the catcher behind and you got to see if he can catch the batter before he gets to the pitcher.
And then they
make fights.
Right, and then we have timed sprint races from the bullpens. For the All-Star relief pitchers.
Right.
Here's what you do every time there's one of these pseudo fights. Now you take the two main antagonists and you actually set up a ring and have them box.
Yeah.
So Yasiel Puig versus blank
with those really giant boxing gloves. Those really hilarious boxing gloves.
So this is how Major League Baseball is going to defend against the encroachment of cricket taking up their. I love it. So we've got hit batsman. We've got tackling the batsman before he makes it to the pitcher. We've got timed races out from the bullpen. We've got an Insta boxing ring that pops up, and oversized boxing gloves are handed out to the combatants. I love it.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
In short, make everything shorter and more violent.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, pretty much. P.T. Barnum would be proud.
Yes, he would.
Okay, boys. Have a good day.
Later, guys.
Have a great week. Yep. Talk to you later.
Take care, fellas.
Adios. Bye. Joe, we can't see a wave on audio. And Greg. Thanks, guys. Yes.
And I don't want to call you up or wait for a sign. I just can't pretend I'm gonna make you mine. I never wanna be the last to know, so I guess I'll just go back to laying low. Now I don't wanna feel it for the second time, and I don't wanna call you up or wait for a sign. Now I just can't pretend I'm gonna make you mine. I never wanna be the last to know, so I guess I'll just go back to laying low.
I think they're responding.
Great job.
Those who are not familiar with it as part of their environment often find it difficult to follow. It has been described as casting a ball at 3 straight sticks whilst defending the same with a 4th. However, there is a better explanation. It goes like this. You have 2 sides. One out in the field and one in. Each man that's in, the side that's in, goes out. And when he's out, he comes in, and the next man goes in until he's out. When they are all out, the side that's out comes in. And the side that's been in goes out and tries to get those coming in out. Sometimes you get men still in and not out. When a man goes out to go in, the men who are out try to get him out. And when he is out, he goes in, and the next man in goes out and goes in. There are two men called